Hey, I'm Courtney Jenkins with All in Wonder at specialneedsministryresources.com. Today I wanted to talk to you about our repeated readers. We have several of these available in our shop as free downloads and then also as individual resources. So the one I'm going to show you today is our free download, What is Prayer? We're going to use that as our example today. So repeated readers, we hear the word repeated. What does that mean? Why is it called a repeated reader? First of all, repetition is absolutely critical for individuals who have an intellectual disability to really grasp a concept. And so we want to be presenting this material that's in these books again and again. So it's not a one and done activity. It's something that you're going to pull out. So if you are having a lesson and it has something to do with prayer, then you're going to pull this out as an extra resource to say, hey, what is prayer? We're talking about prayer. Let's look at what it is. Let's have a reminder of what prayer is. And then, you can use it at home when you're praying together at night, when you're praying before a meal. You can talk about what is prayer. Hey, just as a reminder, let's read this book and let's talk about what is prayer. So there's a couple of ways that you can assemble these books. I really like to have them laminated and then bound. I have a comb binder that I use. If you don't have a comb binder, Staples is a great place to go. They only charge a few dollars to be able to bind these. They can use the spiral binders or the comb bind, which is like this kind. And then the lamination is really helpful for when we use removable pieces, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit. So lamination is really good as well, but you can also just print copies of these. This is just on computer paper. And, if you want to use a laminated copy at church, but send just a printed copy home for parents to use with their kids, feel free to do that as well. The structure of our repeated reader, is there is a repeated storyline. Again, we're seeing that word repeated at the bottom of each page. And on the first page of the book, this is the only thing that's on the page. And this is what we consider to be the main idea of the story. This is what we want kids to walk away really understanding, really grasping after interacting with this book. So for this book, it's prayer is talking to God. And that's the repeated storyline. That's the main idea of this book. So that's the only thing that's on the first page. If you have a child who is a non-reader or who is limited in their reading ability, these are created specifically to help them be able to be an active participant, even if they don't know how to read the whole thing. So the top part of each page is going to be something that if they're not a reader, you read to them. They can follow along with the symbols. If they are readers, the symbols can just help them stay on track, help them recognize any unfamiliar words. And then when you get to the bottom, this is something that we're going to all be saying together. So even if your child is not reading the book, they can repeat the storyline after you, can say it with you. So prayer is talking to God. After each page, that's what you want them to say and engage in. If they are nonverbal, we have other ways that they can still interact and participate in the story. So part of the download is an extra piece. That's the repeated storyline. And so it may look something like, for participation, adding a Velcro dot onto the repeated storyline and then taking that and attaching it when you're reading. So you're reading this top part and then it comes down and they put this on as you're saying together, prayer is talking to God. And that's their way of saying that repeated storyline. Another really great way to do that, and you can do that even if they are verbal and they just need some of that kinesthetic learning and interaction when they are participating. But another really great option for nonverbal students is using a recordable button. So this is cheap. It's like $12 on Amazon. It's similar to what we would use in a special ed classroom called a Big Mac.
Prayer is talking to God.
But you can record. So on the back, you can switch over to record. You click and then you would read the repeated storyline. Prayer is talking to God. And then you switch over to play. And then add this, and put a Velcro dot on it. Add that so when you get to the point where you're wanting to repeat that storyline with a child, then instead of saying it or moving this piece, if they have limited verbal ability and then also limited mobility, they can click.
Claire is talking to God.
And that way they are being an active participant. So that is just a rundown quickly of our repeated readers. And again, you can find a copy of the repeated reader that I showed it as an example as a free download on the main website or in the shop. We also have some other examples of repeated readers that can be found in the shop. Hope it is helpful and that you enjoy.